Brother Time does not offer medical, financial, or any other kind of professional advice or opinion. This is just us talking about things we want to talk about, so take it with a grain of salt. Moms are like buttons. They hold everything together. I'm Isaac, 5 of 10, and I tried cloud eggs this morning. I made them for the first time. I was pleasantly surprised by them.
Yeah, those are the extra fluffy eggs you sent me, right?
Did in the mail?
Yeah, you sent me a package and it smelled really bad. No,
Yeah,
you
what'd you
sent me
think?
a video of someone like making the cloud egg.
Yeah.
It's like they whip up the whites.
Yeah, you whip up the egg whites and then you can bake it. I actually tried to cook some in the frying pan, which you gotta, because it's so far away, it's so tall, you gotta like add some water and steam it. It actually turned out pretty good. But the ones in the oven didn't look fantastic, but man, they were good. I was really surprised. I expected them to be bad though, so maybe that kind of curbed my opinion.
Yeah, did you do the thing where you just take the yolk and place it gently on top?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
it actually cooked the yolk like thoroughly through. It looked shiny on top, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be raw yolk. Susie doesn't like soft eggs like the yolk. She likes them to be firm. But so I was again prepared for disappointment, and it had cooked all the way through that yolk. Anyways, have you tried it yet?
No, and I don't know that I will.
It takes too much time. That is going to be it's a huge. I thought it's like I started at 7:20 this morning making those things and whipping it. Maybe someone who knows what they're doing when you whip things. It did not want to keep some stiff peaks.
Yeah,
I didn't start with room temperature eggs, which you're supposed to do. So now it's like a 12-hour process for me in the future.
Gotta set those eggs out, let them come up to room temperature.
I threw some lemon juice in there to help stiffen, because that's what AI told me I should do.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Lemon juice to help stiffen peaks.
It gave a few different options. It was like you can throw some cream of tartar, you can throw some lemon juice, some white vinegar. It had a few different options. I had lemons on the counter, so that's what I...
Yeah, I would be hesitant to... I'm Josh, 8 of 10. I would be hesitant to actually use any advice AI gave me with food. Like, unless I know for sure. Obviously, what it told you to do is not dangerous, but like if I'm not sure about the ingredients it's asking me to use, I would definitely be hesitant.
All it's doing is pulling from other recipes online. It literally is going to look at 100 different recipes and be like, most of them have these consistencies in them. And it might be one of them, or it might pick its own, it might create its own conglomerate, or just pick the most popular. But yeah, as far as stiffening the peaks, I was pretty confident. It helped me that other time. It helped me turn pancake mix into cake mix. And
you just don't do it in a pan and it's cake mix.
No, you have to add like eggs and butter and baking powder, some other stuff to turn pancake mix into cake mix. I also use it to tell me if things have gluten in it.
Oh, is it good enough to where you can just point at something and ask if it has gluten in it?
Yeah, you take a picture and ask, and it's like, this looks like a Mrs. Fields cookie. Their products are mostly gluten. So it's actually pretty good at like doing reverse image searches and kind of guessing, like educated guessing, but also saying like, this is what I think it is. If it's that, it's probably not safe for you to eat if you're gluten intolerant.
Yeah.
Anyways, I forgot that I'm hosting. Let's take a break. All right. Celebrating Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day again this year.
It is.
It snuck up on me. Do you get to spend time with Mom this week?
No, we hadn't planned on going up to see mom, and I was a little sick on Friday. Actually, went home early from work and was just feeling a lot of exhaustion, and so I'm still feeling it a little bit today. I don't know what the deal is, but
Oh,
so no, not traveling anywhere. How about
okay.
you? Are you going to drive over to see mom? It's not very far for you.
It's pretty convenient, but um no,
How long of a drive would it be for you?
probably like 14
14 minutes. Wow. That's really not
hours.
bad.
No, hours.
Oh, I was pretty close though.
Yeah, you take the
14
average.
versus 14 and
I mean, that's closer than 14 days if you think about it. Like 14 days, if you had guessed 14 days, you would have been much further from correct than 14 minutes. You get what I'm saying?
yeah, a 14-day trip would be like
In length of time, that's much like the length of time is more distant from 14 hours than 14 minutes is.
yeah. It's it kind of makes you think about how people used to travel before vehicles, like before gas powered vehicles and stuff. Or
Oh,
like
yeah.
or before planes, like if you got on a boat, you were on that boat for months, you know?
Man, that was it. And it was a commitment you were making. Like to travel across the country was a huge risk/commitment. And a lot of times you didn't have a lot of information about what was waiting on the other side
Yep.
or on the road itself. Could have been pretty treacherous. But we deviated a little bit. How do we as adults celebrate Mother's Day? It's usually like a gift. We just maybe a phone call to mom today.
Yeah, usually just call mom. That's
See how she's doing. Let her know
Yeah.
you're doing okay.
Yep, basically. I mean, I guess you could buy something on Amazon and ship it to her house.
Yeah,
That's one thing you could do.
she likes
Uh,
puzzles.
Yeah, or just buy what you would normally buy on Amazon, and instead of shipping it to your own house, ship it to her house.
I got you this external hard drive, mom.
Actually, I need that back. Can you send it to me?
Oh, I can't really use this. Oh, okay, I'll take it.
I'll take it.
That was the kid thing to do. Was like, I got you this race car, mom. Oh, I love it. Do you love it, mom? Can I play with it?
Yeah. That is a very kid thing to do. To take advantage of a gift giving opportunity to get something for yourself.
Well, you only have your own little perspective of like, what do I like? I like cars. I like toy cars. That's what I like.
Yeah.
What do you know about adults as a kid? Or empathy? That's the real issue. What do you know about empathy?
I guess nothing. I guess it's all
Yeah.
just yeah. I don't know. I'm not a baby psychiatrist. I wonder if those exist. Like a baby
Probably.
psychiatrist.
Yeah, they have to talk like this. Oh, you boy.
I just picture like a baby carrier sitting in one of those chairs that you like would lean back on and tell someone your problems.
Tell me about your childhood. Easy money.
Oh.
Well, have you heard of rumination in psychology? Did we talk about this?
Rumination. Isn't that like thinking about memories? Is that what
Yeah.
ruminating means?
Yeah, so what they found, like, this is a recent study that came out. What they found is when you think about your problems, it makes them bigger. So it's like someone who, let's say you stub your toe. If you sit down and focus on that toe, it's probably going to hurt more than if you continue, like, walk it off, go do something else, try
Yeah.
to focus elsewhere. If you stop and focus on it, it's the pain is going to get bigger. And what they're finding is with psychology, over the past 20 years, psychologists have been doing more harm than good by causing people to ruminate on their issues and focus on their issues, bring them up repeatedly, it's sort of weird, but if a psychologist were to help people, they would run out of customers. And what they've found is that psychologists would try to find the sweet spot of people who can hold down a job but are just depressed enough that they need help. And so cause them to ruminate just enough to keep them there, but not push them into so much depression that they lose their job and aren't able to pay for the psychologist.
Interesting.
To help them.
I couldn't imagine people actually doing that on purpose. That's pretty evil.
I don't think it starts off in that sort of sense of like, I'm gonna hook people, get them in here and keep them. But it's like, well, who do you want as a customer? Well, I want someone who can pay me.
Right.
I don't want people. So I want professional, and I don't want the problems too serious to where they're unstable and might hurt me. Or, anyways.
Yeah, I guess you can follow the chain of decisions and get there, because I guess people in that situation would be like lifelong quote unquote customers for therapy. But I mean, I think the idea, so like I was actually listening to a podcast the other day about memory.
Okay.
And it tracks what you were saying about ruminating can intensify pain, because memory. So there was an experiment done on mice where they found out that if they had them take a specific drug as they were remembering something, they would forget the thing.
Okay.
And what that proved was that when you remember things, you're actually reconstructing them and you change them. And that's the other side. That's the other part of this, is when you're basically imagining things. And that seems pretty obvious, right? If you think about it, when you remember something, you're imagining the thing. But the truth is, you're inventing the thing. You're reinventing it. You can implant memories in people by convincing them that this thing happened, and they will create a vivid memory of the thing happening. And so when you remember things, you can emphasize different things about it. You can change different things about it to fit, what you think you remember when you remember it. And eventually that's going to become the truth of that memory to you, is it happened this specific way. This specific thing happened, when in reality it might have never happened.
Yeah. That there's so much that brought up for me as far as like the difficulty, like when you and someone else have a disagreement about how something played out. But I was actually remembering, now I forget his name. There was this magician who had a show, and he would do little like psychological experiments on people. And he's the Carbonaro effect. And I've started to find his stuff a little bit annoying, because all he really does is go in and gaslight people, and using magic, he'll gaslight people into saying, "Oh no, my shirt was green," when it clearly turned from red to green while they were interacting. So it's a little annoying that way. But he had this set up at a restaurant, and he came and he stole a purse. He's a white dude, dark hair. And then moments later, he walks up as the police officer, same, like not hiding his face or anything, walks up as the police officer and asks for a description of the guy. And the people just describe random people that they saw before, like recently. Like there was a guy who walked by who was like a BS delivery guy, and she described him instead of the instead of saying he looks like you. Memory just pulled a face in there.
Yep.
And that's terrifying.
And it's like the more we learn about memory, the more we understand that eyewitness accounts of things are not reliable.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, it's
horribly disturbing, because how many times have we needed that?
Yeah.
Heavily relied on it, and then how do we know that that's it's just scary. What is reliable then, if not someone's anecdotal evidence?
I mean, I I don't know. It's gotten to the point to where you can't really rely on video. Obviously, you can't rely on audio. So like digital, I guess if you can correlate different sources of digital information,
Yeah.
but it's the same way it's always been if you think about it. You're trying to establish what's the most likely thing that happened. And if these different separate sources corroborate a specific thing happening, it's safe to assume that's what happened. Also, using Occam's razor of making the least number of assumptions. So you wouldn't assume someone flew somewhere to account for like a short amount of time required to travel a certain distance. You wouldn't assume that they suddenly developed the ability to fly, right?
Yeah.
Even if that seems to fit everything. It's like, no.
That makes everything work together. This outlandish.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of just need the common sense of putting it all together. But
Yeah. Sorry to turn that heavy, but let's cool down over a break. Break back from the break.
yeah, back break back.
Anyways, so there is a movie coming out that I'm interested in. It's coming out this year. I was wondering if you are excited about the same movie, but I don't want to say the movie.
I don't know the movie, so I guess I'm not excited about it.
There's not a single movie that you're excited about coming out this year?
No, not really. Like I think I've fallen out of the
that's okay.
the movie
I
cycle.
usually do too, but this one brought me into excitement about it. Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Yeah.
I do feel like I've just gotten really tired of the same thing over and over again.
Oh no.
Which so the other night April and I watched the new Ghostbusters movie.
Okay.
And contrary to what you might think, considering what I just said, it was actually a pretty good movie. Like I thought it was well done. Here's the thing. I like movies that take the time to like tell a story and to develop characters.
Character development, huge part of a
kind
movie.
of important. Like kind of important to develop these characters so that you actually care what's happening. And a lot of these cash grab movies are just they don't do the things to earn the moments. They don't earn the payoffs.
Yeah, they rely heavily on other productions for the rapport and you to care about a character, and then they forego the character development for big cinematic moments that transfer well to previews, so that people are like, wow, I want to see that movie that's got a big explosion in it.
Yeah, and I guess when I hear Wolverine and Deadpool, I'm like, those, because these aren't new versions of those characters.
I think they use like the multiverse in it, which I'm kind of, to be honest, I don't like the multiverse stuff. I think it's like just an excuse to recycle, kind of what you're saying, recycle characters and then change them however you want, and then drop them in. You have this mix of free rapport and like randomness that doesn't. It's such a. I feel like it was overused the second time it was used, so it's not original anymore.
I think the multiverse is impossible to write good for. It's just
it's really hard.
There's too much.
Yeah,
but that's why I just feel less interested in a lot of the movies I've been seeing previews for or hearing about. And it's kind of the point to where like I'll see a commercial for something for a movie that's apparently been out for weeks and I would have never heard of it until then. I'll be like, wait, they made another one of those? I feel like I feel old, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're not connected to the movie stuff. And I think the movie industry just isn't doing that well. They're not getting as many people out. It's not the same as when they could make a movie for $1 million and expect 700 million, or not even expect, but get several tens of millions, hundreds of millions in return on that investment.
Yeah. And now they'll spend hundreds of millions on a movie and get like 50 million back. And so it's not, I don't know. I feel like people will appreciate good movies though. I think good movies, even if a lot of money's not spent, tell a good story, good character development, all that stuff, and I think people will watch it. But don't make another Transformers movie. Like, stop making those. They're the same every single time. It's the same movie.
The CGI just keeps getting better though, and the explosion budget. Yeah, I mean it's. I have not. I think I've watched like one or two of the newer ones when they were free to watch on something, and I'd have to say that it was so everything was so generic about it when you talk about like missing character development that I can't remember a single detail about the plot. Like I can't remember anything about it except maybe something was trying to destroy the Earth and the Transformers were there to save the humans.
Yeah, I put on a Transformers movie one time while I was like cooking something, and I remember looking up and it was 30 minutes into the movie and I just turned it off because I was like, I still don't know what's going on.
Oh man, that's good.
Yep, like that's
it.
Like I was trying to pay attention to it, but I was just like, this is just like, sure, it's a lot of action going on, but it's kind of a boring movie. Like, you can't. I'm not gonna clap my hands because there was a big boom on the screen. You know?
Yeah, they build up, and then boom. I do want to talk about commitments and like the fear of missing out. I feel like FOMO is the fear of missing out is a big thing. I don't know, maybe culture's improving around it, but it was like the 18 to 26 range for a while would not commit to doing anything.
Wouldn't commit to doing anything because of FOMO? Or
the fear of missing out, or they would just drop commitments. There was this weird commitment thing going on where they were afraid of missing something better, so they wouldn't commit to something fun.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. At first I thought you were going to talk about the with FOMO because it's often used in like, what is it? Like the video games on the phone where they'll give you like an offer to pay them for this thing in the game. And they say like it's a 200% value or something like that. But then they put a timer on it. So if you don't buy it within like 8 hours, you don't get it.
Yeah, it's gone. That offer vanishes. No, it's more like if you're putting together a game, like you want to play some video games with some friends, and they're like, well, I don't want to commit to playing Friday night because this other friend said they were going to throw a big party, maybe, and I want to go to that. And you're stuck. Well, I guess the answer would be to just find different people.
Yeah,
but who would commit to spending time with you. But that person that often is like, I don't want to commit to this, or worse, they commit to it and don't show up. I feel like they miss out on stuff because of the fear of missing out. Like there was no party and they didn't play games.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, how far would communication go in fixing that? Like if they just told you, I do really want to go to this thing you're setting up, but honestly, I also really want to go to this other thing that I heard about. So I want to say yes to you, but if that other thing comes up, I'm going to go to it instead. Well, like how far would that go?
yeah, for younger people, that seems like I could imagine it's much easier to either commit or not commit. To be like, yeah, I'll be there 100% and then not show up. Commit to 7 different things for that time. It's really easy to do, but you burn out the goodwill when you no show. And then you know what? You know what I mean? Instead of telling someone to their face, "Hey, you might not be my number one choice."
Yeah.
Being older, it's like, okay, I didn't expect to be your number one choice every time. Like,
Yeah.
we don't. There's a little more understanding, and we know the world doesn't revolve around us, or most of us learn that along the way. I guess it's the the non-confrontational nature that people hold,
Yeah.
and they want to
it's easier.
They want to please people. But yeah, you're right. Communication would definitely help.
I mean, how would you feel about that if they just told you that up front? Would you be upset if they, called you day of and they were like, "Sorry, I can't come because the other thing came up"?
Well, here's the other thing. Let's say you have 4 spots for a game, like it's a 4-player game.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Hey, Tomothy, will you want to play on Friday night?" They know it's a 4-player game. They want to play it, but there's this other thing they want to do. So they'll commit to doing it. You're like, "Okay, I got my 4." The day comes, "Oh, I've got this other thing that I don't want to miss out on, so I'm not going to show up, but I'm also not going to tell you."
I think that's the real issue is they don't tell you. Because if they told you,
Yeah.
you might be able to alter it to be a 3-player or find another person. But like if people are showing up and you're waiting for the 4th person and it's 15 minutes in and they don't show up and you're kind of like, well, what are we going to do now? Because that was kind of a key part of this.
And now we got to pick up a random stranger. So I feel like naturally people grow out of it maybe when they stop getting invited to stuff, because they become labeled flaky. But I guess the reason I wanted to talk about that is because sometimes I make commitments that I want to get out of, and I was hoping you could help me to get out of those. What do you say?
I think that there are probably a few excuses you can keep in your back pocket, but you've got to make sure you know when you've used those with each person. So, like, for instance, if you say a relative passed away, you need to keep track of which ones that you've used to passed away.
Okay.
Or, like, let's say you're on your 3rd uncle passing away and your list of excuses with this person. The next time you see them, you've kind of got to give some background as to why you have so many stinking uncles. Got to be like, yeah, my grandparents had 20 kids and most of them were boys. You've got to kind of give that background. So there is some pre-planning you have to do to use those. I think one of the best things I don't think
this is a good line of advice.
Okay, well, okay, hold on. Then let me change gears. I think the best thing you can get used to saying is, "I would, but I don't want to."
There you go. That's pretty good. I don't wanna.
Yeah. I would come to your thing, but I really don't want to.
Yeah, it's just hard. It's a form of conflict.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's like because when you commit to something, it's how serious is the commitment? If it's like a board game day, like, oh, we were going to play board games for 4 hours, you committed to come, and is it a thing where 10 different people are coming and it's no big deal if you miss out? There's that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's true.
That sort of context matters, but you're still letting someone down.
And the thing is even if everyone understands you're just being honest, because I would say let's normalize honesty. Just start being brutally honest. The thing is even if you do that,
I don't wanna.
The people inviting you might stop inviting you because they're like, I don't like that feeling of someone telling me that they don't want to play board games with me on Saturday. Like, fine, then I won't invite you anymore. It's like you kind of have to couch it in. Normally I would really want to, but I've had a really long week. It's been rough. I kind of just want a day to chill. So I really don't want to play board games this week. Right. So I think honesty is important, but it can also backfire as well. And that you just won't be a part of the group anymore.
Yeah.
So
it's hard. I think there are nice ways to be honest. And just if you could say, I think if you just say something came up, I'm not going to be able to make it. Then if they push further, you just be like, look, I don't want to. It's a little more. I just don't want to. Then it's a little more tolerable because they're kind of asking for the honesty. But yeah, it's tough. I have problems where I like to people please. I make a lot of work commitments, and then there's like just overlapping scheduling things. I'm scheduling further and further out, and sometimes after I agree to come look at a job, I'm like, I don't want to. Like, as much as I want to help them out, it's like this person's an hour away.
Yeah.
There's no way they're hiring me to actually do anything. I'm basically going for them, which I don't mind doing, but it's like I'm also stretched thin and would rather spend time with the kids.
Yeah.
With Susie.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the easier way to break commitments is to not make them, or make, and maybe there's a way to make like softer commitments and just say, like, use softer language with, like, I think I might be able to make next Saturday work, but let me check my calendar and get back to you next Saturday and see if I feel like doing it. Not that soft, but anyways. Any more thoughts on that?
Nope.
I think you sound ready for a break, so let's take one. Oh, is that the new closing music?
Yeah. Well, no, it'll probably be the same
outro
music.
Oh,
I'm not gonna put in the new stuff or the stuff I found yet because I can still use those old podcast recording tools. But
now I hear it. Yeah, it sounds the same.
Yeah.
Thank you, listeners, for listening. That was just a teaser for the new music that's eventually coming in because of
generated by AI.
Ooh.
Should make this whole podcast generated by AI.
The winner this week is definitely the Autobots.
The Decepticons.
Not
Autobots.
this time. Roll out? That's what they say, right?
Yep, roll out because they're all cars. Because they all turn into different cars. If you ever see like a semi and a sports car hanging out, safe to assume that they're Transformers.
But they're also people,
No, they're not though. They're robots.
Autobots run out sounds a little odd. You know what I mean?
That's true. I guess people say roll out as well, but I guess the implication is you're on some form of vehicle.
Yeah. Hopefully the vehicle isn't rolling. Let's for people listening, if you like the podcast, please rate and review us.
Please.
Please. You can find us on Facebook. I think that's where most people... is Facebook done? Is Facebook old?
It is. It's been old for years now. I think... I don't know what younger people use now, but I bet you it's not Facebook most of the time.
Yeah, we're disconnected from that, but I assume kids use TikTok. Even Instagram is probably old, right? Insta is probably old. Twitter's old, or X. I'm probably never going to call it X. Anyways, you can't find us on all those things, but you can find us on Facebook. Also on the internet, which is really old, at brothertimepod.com.
brothertimepod.com.